When you're trekking miles into the backwoods or making your way up a mountain, every ounce of gear weight counts, and you often must balance comfort against practicality. Overland hiking or mountaineering means using the most compact, lightweight tent that suits the conditions. Luxuries like enough space to sit up are sacrificed to keep the pack weight down. When you're car camping, on the other hand, you only need to haul your gear a short distance from the back of your vehicle, so go ahead and bring along a big, bulky tent with all sorts of special features. Before we get started with our video detailing the best tents for camping on the market, we have included links in the description for each product mentioned, so make sure you check those out to see which one is in your budget range. Starting off with the best overall camping tent, we have the Coleman Carlsbad Fast Pitch Dome Tent. The Coleman Carlsbad Fast Pitch Dome Tent is a superlative tent for the family of campers, for one reason above all others. Adults and kids usually have different sleep schedules, and this was very much the case just last weekend when my son and I went camping. I tucked him into a sleeping bag after several books and a lot of snuggles and a bit of negotiation before sunset. Yet thanks to the Coleman's darkroom technology walls and rainfly, the interior of the tent was plenty dim enough for slumber. On hot days, that same darkroom tech can reduce interior temperature by more than 10% when compared with other tents, and that can mean a notable several degree difference. Another reason this tent is great for families is thanks to the screened-in vestibule that sits outside the main tent door. You can fit a pair of camp chairs in this bug-free zone, enjoying time technically spent outside while staying near the sleepers within. You can fit 2 queen air mats or 5 twin-size mats within the tent, and still have a bit of room for gear. I single-handedly set this tent up in less than 10 minutes, and breaking it down again, including folding the tent and rainfly up and tucking it all into the bag, which I was able to zip shut, took just over 12 minutes. Yes, I timed myself. Not bad for a shelter that kept me and my kid bone dry in a downpour. The Coleman Carlsbad Fast Pitch Dome Tent earns the fast pitch part of its name thanks to the pre-attached poles, an easy interclip suspension system, and an elegant simplicity of overall design. If you have set up even 2 or 3 tents in your lifetime, you won't need to use the directions to pop this baby into shape. Also worth noting is the small zippered slot, which you can pass a cable and a pair of hanging pockets for sundry items. With nearly 150 reviews posted on Amazon at the time of this writing, the Coleman Carlsbad Fast Pitch Dome Tent has a solid 4.2-star average rating. A customer named Lizzie admonishes people to buy this tent now, noting how beautifully it held up in the rain and wind. A gear tester from Outdoor Gear Lab called the Coleman Carlsbad an affordable tent that stays cool and dark in the sun, and that is easy and fast to pitch. You can also read our full review for more details. Next up, we have the best car camping tent for foul weather, which goes to the Kelty Gunnnison 4 tent. I can pitch my Kelty Gunnnison 4 in about 5 minutes, and I've done so as rain began to fall at what proved to be the leading edge of a long storm. Being tent-bound is no fun, but being tent-bound and soaked is miserable. When you and your camping buddies are nestled down in this rugged dome tent, you'll stay warm and dry within, even as the storm rages without. I recommend you tuck a maximum of 2 additional people besides yourself into the Gunnnison 4. The Kelty Gunnnison 4 is constructed primarily out of rugged polyester, but with a mesh upper third that promotes fresh airflow. The tent's rainfly sits several inches above the primary dome, so any condensation that collects will flow well outside of the tent and will stay off you and your stuff. Breaking the Kelty Gunnnison down is every bit as easy as setting it up, and it packs into a bag you could fit into a larger hiking pack should that ever be necessary. At 10.5 pounds, this tent is a bit too heavy to use on any appreciable distance trek, but it sure is a fine choice for car camping, or for short hikes into your campsite. A fellow Kelty Gunnnison 4 owner named Michael said the tent was of outstanding quality, and noted that it kept him dry in torrential downpours, which is exactly what Kelty designed it to do. In their Gunnnison review, the folks from Backpacker called it able to take on challenging weather and withstand strong winds. Up next, we have the best low-cost car camping tent, which goes to the Wenzel Shenanigans Teepee camping tent. Yep, you can get a 5-person tent for about $100. And while the standard disclaimer that Wenzel's tent is best used with 1 fewer campers than specified applies, overall this is a roomy, comfortable tent. In fact, thanks to its teepee design, full-grown adults can stand up in this tent. That same height, paired with venting around the peak, allows heat to rise and keeps the tent cool in summertime, although the design also means this isn't a great cold weather option. While this also probably isn't the best tent if you're expecting a downpour, it's a great choice for campouts in mild weather, or for setting up on the beach, the park, or a music festival. Or if you're my son and me, it's a fine tent to pop up in the backyard and then fill with stuffed animals. Large square windows provide additional air circulation and a nice view, as does the generously sized 2-panel door. I can get our Shenanigan teepee erected in about 5 minutes, including staking it down, and the breakdown process is even faster. Also, there's that price. While not a rugged backwoods tent that will get you through a blizzard or a big storm, given that pint-sized price, this is a tent that's worth buying even if you only use it a couple of times a year. A digital trends review called the Wenzel Shenanigan ridiculously easy to put up, thanks to its single center pole design. Up next, we have the best 3-season car camping tent, which goes to the Slumberjack Roughhouse 4-person tent. When I go camping in the fall or early spring, my Slumberjack Roughhouse often comes with me. That's because during autumn and springtime, you can count on large temperature fluctuations throughout the day. I know I can count on this tent to keep me warm inside when its rainfly is zipped down tight, or to let in plenty of fresh air and keep things cool during the hotter parts of the day. I also know my Roughhouse will keep me dry in a downpour thanks to the reliable rainfly, and is stable in wind thanks to its low-profile design. The interior of the tent feels pleasantly roomy thanks to nearly vertical walls, which allows you to actually make use of the living space. With a pair of hiking poles propping up the shade awning, you can enjoy some covered outdoor space as well. It takes a few more minutes to set up this tent than do some others on this list, but it's well worth the effort when the Slumberjack Roughhouse keeps you protected from the elements. A gear reviewer from Bassmaster appreciated how the Slumberjack Roughhouse's sturdy low profile allows it to effectively fight the wind. And for our last pick, we have the best car camping tent for large groups, which goes to the Ozark Family Trail Cabin Tent. Granted, if you stuff 10 people into the Ozark Family Trail Cabin Tent, it's going to be a tight squeeze, but you could fit in that many folks if you needed to. A better idea, though, is to pop in 3 queen-sized air mats and let 6 campers enjoy their outing in comfort. And they can do so with privacy too, as a pair of zip-in, zip-out walls can create 3 interior rooms in this jumbo-sized tent, each room featuring its own mesh windows and doors. As you might expect, a tent this large is heavy and bulky even when properly packed up, and it takes a good amount of time to get this thing pitched, especially if done by one person. But once you have your Ozark Family Trail Cabin Tent ready, you will have a capacious tent that's great for use by large groups or for the prolonged camping trip, where you want to store plenty of gear inside and away from the elements. With the rainfly in place and thanks to the tent's taped seams, you and your camping buddies will stay nice and dry in this roomy tent, even in steady rain. With nearly 250 reviews posted online, the Ozark's Family Trail Cabin Tent enjoys a 4.2-star average rating. A buyer named Anne reports that it kept her family dry despite rain that fell non-stop for a week straight. Another owner called it a high-quality tent at a very affordable price. In their write-up, Outside Online calls this massive tent an ideal choice for a group of friends, and noted the convenience of its 3 doors. So that sums up our top camping tents of 2019. We hope you enjoyed. If you did, please leave a like on the video, and if you're new here, hit that subscribe button. Until next time, have a great day.